In a previous video, I was looking at a new blur removal tool from a company called SyQon. It's called Parallax, and in that video I was specifically looking at their free version that they've made called Parallax Nano. But a lot of you guys said in the comment that you wanted to see a comparison between the Parallax Pro, which is the paid version. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be looking at both what the Parallax Nano, the free version, can do, what can the paid version do, and how does it stack up to BlurXTerminator, because that's what everybody's going to be comparing it, because it's been the gold standard for years. So we're going to run all of them head to head on both some galaxy data and some nebula data, and I got very different results depending on the target. Okay, first let's just go a look at the differences between the Nano and the Pro version. You basically start them in the exact same manner. And if you haven't seen the previous video, I'll be linking at the end of this one, so go back and see how you install it and get it all up and running. I've already set it up, so you can see now I have both the Nano version with all the scripts installed, and I also have the Pro version with all the Pro versions of the scripts installed. So we can run both. Now, immediately when we look at this, what you will see here is the Pro version's star reduction slider goes up to 7. Whereas if we jump over to the Nano, it caps out at 5. So you have a more aggressive star reduction. But what I found is that you can't really compare these values. If I set the exact same values, the Nano and the Pro gives vastly different results. So you can't really compare the settings here apples to apples anyway. But just to show you, if we crank everything, even though they say, oh, you shouldn't do it, I feel like you can crank it in the Nano version. You absolutely cannot in Pro. I'll show you that. Let's just set up a quick preview here. Let's say we set it up here around the side of the galaxy. And let's just run the preview here, because then it's a lot faster. Here you go. So this is with everything cranked on the Nano version here. And you can see, look at the stars here, for instance. They definitely get reduced. And if we look at the galaxy arms here, yeah, it does something. It definitely gets better, for sure. But again, this is the free version. This is the least powerful of the two. Now, if we jump over to the Pro version, however, and we could set the exact same settings over here just to show you. So we're going to crank the sharpening strength all the way to 3 as we had before. We're going to set that at 5, and we run the preview now. Look how different the results are. It's night and day. It's not even, I mean, this is over sharpened, as you can see. This is probably too much. And I think that's why the text also goes red. You shouldn't go this aggressive. But also notice here, all the stars are almost gone. And if we just, for fun, if we just crank everything and we just process the entire image here, I'll show you that it can pretty much do a full star removal just by adjusting the star sizes so aggressively that there's basically nothing left when you're done. And there you go. Look at this. Now we processed the entire image. And you can see here, it's almost removed all the stars. But it's done a lot of sharpening. You can see this is definitely looks over sharpened. So you have a lot more power, and also means you need to dial back your settings in order to get a result that looks good. You can even see it gets some leftover halos when you crank everything. So you shouldn't do that with the Pro version. But if we dial this back to a more safe area around 2, and I found that actually now keeping the star reduction relatively low actually gives a decent result. So we don't want to do a lot of star reduction with it, but you can keep this sharpening relatively high. I feel like this gives a pretty good result. You can definitely see we are getting some structures, and if we look at the stars, we can also see they are definitely getting sharpened here as well. If we look at the stars here, how they definitely look better. So definitely a much more powerful tool, the Pro version, compared to the Nano. But the big question, of course, is how does this then stack up against BlurXTerminator? I should probably say that as you can see here, Parallax is available both for PixInsight as well as for SyQon and Siril. So you can get it for pretty much all the major astro processing tools. I'm going to be running the Siril version of it today, but I assume you're going to get pretty much the same results if you run it in PixInsight or SyQon. Okay, here we have everything. We're just gonna set this up so they all have the same zoom, like so. Okay, so up here in the corner, we have the original data. This is the unprocessed data. Down here, we have the Parallax Nano. We can see some sharpening has happened and some star reduction. They're definitely more pinpoint. Over here, we have BlurXTerminator. And down here we have Parallax Pro. So overall, you can definitely see huge difference between the Nano and the Pro. And also, I feel like the stars here, I could probably tune this to be more like what you got here, because with much more pinpoint stars, and you can see here, they're still a little bit more fuzzy over here. I'm pretty sure if I spend a little bit more time with it, as you can see, I could pretty much star reduce them down to not existing. So again, the differences we see here, I wouldn't focus too much on the star sizes, as I'm pretty much expecting that that's just a matter of how much I move that sled around. So I would focus a lot more on the actual galaxy arms behind it. So if we go ahead and just remove these two, so we can just look at these two a little bit closer up side by side. I feel like there's a bit more structure over here. I don't know if it's maybe a little bit more sharpened. It feels still a little bit more softer over here. Which one I like the most? I guess that's a matter of personal preference. And again, I could probably dial this back a little bit. This was set to around 2, so we could probably dial that back and get a very similar result. So we probably don't want to sharpen it as much as we had. We want it slightly softer, so let's go at like 1.75. And the star reduction, I kept that relatively low before. So let's move that up a little bit, maybe 1.5. Okay, now we're definitely a little bit closer. I feel like if I was trying to stretch the stars, or not to reduce the stars more with Parallax, some of the stars began to outright disappear. I think when it comes to stellar sharpening the stars themselves, still think BlurXTerminator does a better job. I get more pinpoint stars over here. Here they still look a little fuzzy. But I kind of like the additional little bit extra crisp structure we get in the galaxy arms that we get with Parallax Pro. So when it comes to galaxies, at least, I definitely think these two are trading blows right now. But as I said, I also want to take a quick look at some deep sky objects. So this is technically all deep sky, some nebulas, just to see how it performs there. Okay, once again, just comparing the original and the Nano here. Not a whole lot has happened, and that was also what I found in my original video, was that the Parallax Nano has a really hard time with nebulas, at least all the nebulas that I've tried. There is some difference if we really go in and pixel peep here. It has been sharpened, you can definitely see that, and the stars have been reduced. So it's not that it doesn't do anything, but it's not very aggressive. This is BlurXTerminator we have up here. We see a lot more structure, especially here at the head of the bat here. We can definitely see a lot more happening. And again, if we're pulling up Parallax Pro, this was just my first attempt here. Maybe not as much, so we could probably crank the sharpening of the nebulosity a little bit more, and we're gonna probably try to do that. And again, we could also, I think the stars are pretty much the same, but we could try to see what would happen if we crank the sharpening here up a little bit more. I think it could definitely take that. And if you're wondering, like, the reason why I'm spending a lot more time like tweaking Parallax, it's just because I'm more used to BlurXTerminator. I've been using that for quite a while now, and obviously Parallax is a very new tool, so I still need to begin to get a feeling for like where the settings are good. I still feel like the stars are, I mean, they're there, but they're reduced too much for my liking. Okay, and now the stars look okay. We're not getting as much sharpening on them, and we're not getting as much sharpening on the actual nebulosity as I would like. I'm beginning to wonder if Parallax performs better when you run it after a star separation, so you run only the nebulosity. I know that BlurXTerminator specifically want to run while you still have the stars in your image, because it uses the stars, I think it calculates like a point spread function and then figures out like how much it needs to sharpen and stuff like that. So it uses the stars as an indicator for how much it needs to sharpen. But maybe Parallax prefers not to have stars in it. Let's go ahead and just run a quick test. So I'm just keeping the star reduction all the way down because we obviously don't want that. But now we can really crank. What happens now if we just crank the sharpening all the way up? Because I feel like it was one of the issues before was when we were cranking the sharpening, it would just remove the stars altogether. It still makes a very contrasty look when we are sitting and when I'm looking at it. Obviously, this is also probably over sharpened, but I still feel like it gives a very high contrasty look compared to what at least to what I'm used to with BlurXTerminator. Okay, so here we have BlurXTerminator and the two Parallax Pros with and without stars, just as running the test. I don't feel like it did a whole lot of difference. Maybe it added a bit more noise in this one actually, but I don't know. That might also be the star reduction or star removal. I'm not sure what step added that extra noise. But overall, I think when it comes to nebulas, I still feel like I personally prefer BlurXTerminator. But again, there is a bit of a learning curve with Parallax for sure. Now, of course, there is one last thing to consider, as these are both paid models, and that is the price. We look at the price for BlurXTerminator. Well, it's $100 US, and then you get both the access to the one in PixInsight and now also the one they call standalone, because recently BlurXTerminator has been made available in PixInsight as well as a standalone version you can run over there. However, if you want Parallax, you can either get the all-in-one bundle that gives you access to it on all platforms. So that means you get both the standalone, you get the one for PixInsight, you get it for all the different tools. That is $127. Or you get a single platform license. If you only wanted one of the tools, you can either get it in PixInsight for $87 and in Siril / SyQon suite for $67. So there was a bit of a price difference depending on your needs, depending on what you like. But overall, I think given that Parallax is the new kid on the block, it's definitely doing very, very well. It is trading blows with some of our tests with BlurXTerminator. And I'm pretty sure with a bit more training and you get a bit more feeling for the best way to use it and the best settings, and should you use more sharpening or more star reduction, what gives the best results, I think you can get very comparable results to some of the other models. I will, of course, be providing a link in the description below if you want to look up Parallax as well. So thanks for watching, clear skies, and have fun processing. We got the deblur, we're gonna get the star reduction, and we're gonna get the aberration correction as well. We're gonna put all